Welcome everyone to another lesson in the Excel tutorial series. Today we're going to cover lookups. As usual, the data set that we'll be using is the standard insurance data set. And we want to cover ways of looking up information from the data set. That's what we do with lookups. Now, you can find this data set available for download in the description, and also please subscribe to our channel as well to keep updated with all our videos. Now, the situation is you have a data set of insurance claims available here with claim number, the as of date, the accident date, report date, age, paid, and case. Now, say you want to look up the amounts paid for these claim numbers. You want to look up the amounts paid for these ages. You also want to look up the fifth row of these columns. Now, how do we do that? Now, there's two Excel functions that would be very useful for this. One is the vlookup function, and then the second one is the hlookup function. Now, the vlookup function actually works for this really well. For example, if you want to look up the amount paid, all you have to do is type equals vlookup, and then the lookup value, which is what you're trying to look up, or is the quote-unquote key that you're looking up, which is this key. And then you look at the table array. So let's select this whole data set. And then I also press F4, which essentially just means that the data set selection is static. So when we move this around, it won't change the selection. And then the column index is which column to pick it up from. Now, notice that for this data set, since we highlighted from A to G, column A is data set is the column 1, B is column 2, C is column 3, D is column 4, E is column 5, F is column 6, G is column 7. So when we want to look at the paids, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth column. Okay? And then for the next parameter, the range lookup, it's whether you want an approximate match, we look at the closest figure that matches, or we want an exact match. We want an exact match because this is an exact number. So we'll show you what happens if you want to look up approximate matches later on. So we press false, we close the bracket, we press enter, and actually, I made a mistake here. The paid is actually the sixth column. So this should be column 6 instead. So when we look at this claim number, if you look at where it is in the data set, it's actually just here. The amount paid is 76813, and here you have 76813. Now, what's to stop, I guess, someone from just trying to find information in the data set and then typing it into here is that once you have a formula set, you can actually replicate it quite easily. So we have two other claims that we want to look up. All we have to do is just drag this down or to copy the formula down, and it automatically populates. So we have found the paid for this claim 255,866 with paid of 2744. Also found the claim number 9522623 with the paid of 53622, and I can see 53622 right there. So if we had a list of, say, for example, 100 claims, this is an easy way of finding out specific parts of information from each claim. Now, where does this not work so well? It doesn't work so well when there's multiple items that you're trying to look up. So say, for example, we're trying to look up age 1. How much is paid for age 1? If we try to do something similar with vlookup, age 1 in this table, and again, the sixth column, and want an exact match because an exact match is available. When we look that up, it's not available because of several things. One, the data set, when we use a vlookup, it looks up the leftmost column, in which case, here we're looking up the claim number. So when we're looking up the age, we actually select the smaller data set. So instead of A1 to G501, you start off at column E. So we just replace that to there. or you can just re-highlight the selection again. And when we do that, it gives a reference error. Because when you select a smaller data set, you also have less columns. Notice that we only have 3 columns highlighted here. And in this case, the column that you're pulling becomes the second column. This is the first row, 36135. But notice that there's actually 4 rows with the paid there. So in this case, the vlookup and hlookup functions aren't going to help you if you want to find out the total paid or the average paid. The ways to do that would be using the SUMIF or the average_if functions, which we'll cover in separate lessons. Now, so as we noticed that we don't want to use that for this function here. We can use different functions, which we'll cover in subsequent lessons. Now, what about hlookup? How does that work? The hlookup is essentially like a vlookup, but it looks up horizontally instead. So, for example, if we use the hlookup function, the Excel description looks for a value in the top row of a table or array of values and returns the value in the same column for the row you specify. So the hlookup, you look up the hlookup value, which is in this case as of, which matches this B1 as of right there. The lookup table will be, again, the whole data set. And then the row column, as we mentioned here, we're looking up the 5th row. So row number 5. And again, to exact match. Press enter. And notice that this 42004 isn't the item that you were expecting, because you're expecting row 5 here, December 31st, 2014. But that's just because this is a different format. So if you change the format of the cells to, say, a date format, it looks it up correctly, as you can see. Same thing if you drag it down to find report date. First we freeze it so that for all these are the same. We drag it down, report date. The report date for the 5th row is this June 23rd, 2010. Now look at the 5th row here, June 23rd, 2010, as we expected. And then same thing for the next one, the paid, and we change this back to a $, is 82,884, 82,884, again the 5th row. Now the way to make it more flexible is if you want the rows to be variable, there's a way to make that. So say for example we want to look at the 5th row, the 8th row, and the 15th row. Now for this formula, we use the same formula, but instead of having a hard-coded row number, we just actually take in this row number here. And we make it so that it's static on the row. Press enter. And okay, so first we'll make the formatting over there. So 5th row, as we expected. Now we just drag this across and drag it down. Locking into the column there. And then we just drag it across and drag it down. So as you can see, this is conditional on these row numbers. So row 5, as you expect, is the same as the row 5 that we hard-coded into here. And then for the row 8, that corresponds with this row 8 here, the report date of March 31st, 2010, the payment of 2744, and then row 15 is here with the report date of 6/13/2009, 6/13/2009, 17/693, 17/693. So that's another way to use the hlookups and the vlookups. Now, all this time we've been using this false flag in the range lookup. Essentially, the flag is for whether you want to look it up as exact match or as a partial match. Since, for example, claim numbers, these are all exact matches. We want to look up the exact match. Same thing for these. These are text, and they're exact matches of the text here. As of is as of. Paid is paid. But what if you want to use approximate matching? So say, for example, let's first sort this column. Notice that when we sorted, these changed because row 5, 8, and 15 are no longer pointing to the same data points. Now, say for example, we have a claim number of 110314 and a 112485. So what if we want to look up claim number 112480? This claim number doesn't actually exist. So when we do a lookup with the exact match, we get a false. We get NA because it can't find what we're looking for. Now when we change that to true over here, notice that it has found a match. As mentioned here, the approximate matching is based off of the closest match available. So when we look at 112480, it would be between these two columns, okay? So this picks up the first one because it's the one that would be occurring right before whatever would be in there. So this 112480 would be here if it existed, but it doesn't exist. So it pulled the one above, which is this number. So that's what you use for approximate matching. Does not mean there are some useful applications for that if you're trying to find, I guess, the closest number before a certain lookup value. But for most cases, if you want an exact match, it's generally not used. So we stick to the false for the matching. In our subsequent lessons, we'll also cover the average if and sum ifs, which will be very useful for covering these two, finding the age and because it has multiple values. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe and to watch our other videos. Please give it a positive rating if you like it, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.